What's going on, everybody? It's Chris with ProPhoto, and this is Geared Up. This is our weekly live broadcast where we talk about gear, lighting, techniques. We do breakdowns. We have fun, talk photography stuff, mostly lighting. But yeah, we just take your questions. And if you have anything you want to talk about, let us know. We will. Today, we're going to be diving into light ratios. You may ask yourself, like, why do I even need to care about light ratios? It's too technical, and I'm not very technical. Trust me, I'm not very technical. But light ratios are important because, well, let me inform you of something about yourself that you may not know, but you are a professional, okay? And the reason that matters, the reason that matters, sorry, the peanut gang got me laughing. You're a professional. And the reason that matters is because you have to be able to replicate your images whenever you're hired to replicate your images. People want your look, and you should be able to perform that look constantly, no matter what. And that goes for being outside. If your look is blending flash with ambient and understanding like how that works, knowing this is going to help you out a whole bunch, and knowing the looks between the two is going to help you out a bunch too. Also, we'll go through all that of what the ratios do and the kind of the looks and feels that they'll give you and stuff like that. And again, have a good time and take your questions. Caitlin is currently installing a mud mask on her face because today's National Relaxation Day. So we figured we would have fun and do a relaxation type image. Something that feels a little more commercial, really, really poppy. I love shooting on these like blue and teal backgrounds. It's one of my favorite things. So your lighting ratios do a couple things. It's gonna hang up on me here for a second because she's got the mud mask dries up really, really fast. It starts getting all cracky, and so she has to apply it pretty fresh, and then we're gonna go in and start taking some photos. So, but when it comes to your lighting ratios, you hear people talk about something like 1:1, 2:1, 4:1, 8:1, and essentially what that just means is the light ratio off of one another. So a 1:1 light ratio is going to mean that both of your lights that you're using are even. Or if you have a 1:1 light ratio outside, that means your ambient light is even with your flash. So that's a 1:1. Cool. And then when you drop down your fill flash, because that's generally what you're doing, you're not going to drop down your main light to ratio it that way. So you drop down your fill flash a little bit, you drop it one stop, that becomes a 2:1. So you're doubling it. You're doubling that number. That's why it goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 1. And then when you drop it another stop, so now you're 2 stops different from that first overall exposure, you're now a 4:1 difference. She's masked up. And then for your final one, a 4 stops difference is going to give you 8:1. So what that's going to start to do is going to start to introduce shadows into the image. It's going to give a little more direction. It's going to make it look a little more dynamic, whereas your 1:1s are going to be nice and even, especially if you're trying to, it's really helpful if you're trying to fill in wrinkles, or you're doing maybe some beauty stuff and you're trying to kind of get a flawless look to the skin. The 1:1 is nice because it kind of fills in everything. You don't have any shadows. Shadows are the thing that create texture and dimension and directionality. So that's why the 1:1 is good. And then as you slowly start to introduce the shadows, you're going to get more drama, more texture introduced into the image, especially if you're coming from the side. You're going to have a lot more directionality in there. With that being said, we're just gonna take some photos. I'm gonna show you how I do my ratioing. It's probably not the right way of doing it. It works for me, and so it's just the way that my brain works. So it works for me, and so that's what we're gonna do. The light meters are way smarter than I am, so I'm sure that there's a better way of doing it. I just don't know how to do that, so I'm gonna do it my way. So cool. Let's start with just so you know, lighting-wise, what we're using. I've been having a lot of fun with the soft zoom reflector. So this is the 120. It's my main. I'm going to be using that for my main. My fill is an RFI 3x4 on a B10X Plus. Just a nice subtle fill, big softbox, really, really good. And then I want to have a little bit of separation. So from above, I have a strip box for hair lights, the OCF 1x3. Harder to see. Oh, there we go. OCF 1x3 right here. I'm not ratioing this thing, so you're not really going to see me meter for this too much. So just something to keep in mind. That being said, Kate, you ready to come up in here? Yeah. She's really diving into the mud mask. Yeah. So let's go here, bring my camera out front while she's doing that. Perfect.
All right, I got my cucumbers.
Cool. So we're going to start with a 1-to-1. And we're going to take a photo at each one of these levels just so you can kind of see. I posted up a hero shot earlier, or at least on my Instagram and stuff like that to get people to come and see what we're doing. That's a 2-to-1. It's just one stop difference between the main and the fill. It's a really nice look. You ready, Kate?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Cool. So what I like to do, the way that I like to do this is I actually turn off all the lights that I'm not using. So now I just want to measure my, let's get you on your mark. Sorry. So right now I've got my main light right here. I'm going to take it to F8. That's what I want. We're at F8. Surprise, surprise. It's like I set this up earlier or something. Yeah, so there we go. And so I turn that one off, and then I turn on my fill light. So let me get this out of the way of here. Oh, why are we mad? Oh, did my fill light actually turn off? It might have went off. 1 second. Now we're alive. There we go. It went off. Okay, cool. Here we go. And we're at 4.0. We need to be at 5.6. So let's power up a little bit. A little bit more. Perfect. 5.6. So now we're at F8 here. Oh no, wait. We're doing 1-to-1. What am I doing? Sorry, party peeps. We're going 1-to-1 on this one. I was thinking about the main shot. Okay, so now we're perfectly even across both of them. So what I do now is I'll turn them both on. And I'll measure it again because now technically we should be roughly F16. Should be double the power. Or not F16, F11. We're right on F11. So I need to bring everything down to a stop. There we go. See where we are. So I measure everything together, compile the whole thing, and then I'll introduce the I'll measure them individually, and then I'll look at them all together and bring them down together. So, and because I don't want the overhead light to change, I won't actually turn that one on until right here towards the end. So, ready to go, Kate? Actually, I think I need to come in a touch. Let's go here. Make sure we're focused up. Cover that up a little bit more. There we go. Here we go. Actually, I do need to readjust here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So that's 1-to-1. That means the light coming towards Kate is even on both sides. There's no real straight shape to the light. It's blasting her even. So now let's adjust that down to where we had it earlier. So kick this one off. Let's do a little tester here. Cool. Perfect. So let's get that up there. Like I said, I'm sure that there's a way better way of doing this. It's just the way that I do it. It's the way my brain works with it. So that's how we're rolling. Okay, we're good there. Perfect. So let's bring them back together. See the overall exposure. Come down to half a stop, which is what I was expecting. Perfect. F8. So, and we'll pop over there in a second and check the questions. I just want to get the photos snapped first, and then we can compare them. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. A little more shadow coming in on that one side. So now let's drop it down again. We're going to go with a 4-to-1 ratio. That means that the fill light's going to be 2 stops lower than the main light. So have fun with this. Just a lot of clicking, and metering and clicking. There we go. Perfect. F8 there. All right.
Good.
Good. Good then. Glad you're good.
I feel it already drying.
Oh no. You know what? I think I have a random dead battery on my B10. Let's pop a fresh.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, Kate's gonna check for questions. I'm gonna replace a battery.
Hello.
Oh no, we're in standby mode. It's got 2 bars. I'm just gonna replace it anyway.
No questions yet.
Cool. I mean, I can't imagine.
Maybe what I would do is like just kind of like recap what you just said. So we are doing.
Yeah, so all the last 2 shots that we just did. So the shot that's up on the screen now is our 2-to-1 ratio. That's where the fill light is 1 stop lower than the main light. And now we're gonna do the fill light 2 stops lower than the main light. So ready for you, Kate?
All right.
Cool.
Got my spot.
So meter of that. Let's get this powered down a little bit.
The hero shot was a little tighter in as well.
It's fine. This is just for demonstration purposes. Perfect. So we're good there. Let's bring this together. There we go. So now we are 2 stops down on the fill light side. Here we go. Oh, let's kick on the hero light. 3, 2, 1. Very cool. And so now let's go and drop this bad boy down 8-to-1. So 4 stops down on the shadow side. And as we start doing this more and more, we're introducing more shadows. We're getting a lot more directionality. The photo is becoming a little more dramatic than it is necessarily even. So let's get this measured up again. Okay. Power up, Buttercup. Perfect. More time. Perfect. Not perfect. Hang on a second. Okay, and let's bring them together. What we got? Not by, I figured it wasn't going to be by much. That's good. And then we'll bring NC, and this will be our 8-to-1. And we'll compare all of them. Cool. Here we go, Kate. 3, 2, 1. Oh, kind of prematurely fired that thing. Cool. So that should be our images. I'm going to move. Thanks, Kate.
Oh, you are welcome.
Move this out of the way. Thank you, camera. All right, cool. Let's get this right here. Let's kind of move this so I'm not in a shadow. Perfect. So let's go bring all 4 of them up. Cool. So the nice thing about lighting ratios is, again, you have the ability to replicate your stuff very, very easily over and over and over again and get consistent results. So with something like your 1-to-1s, you're going to have a more even light over here. You can see like the back of Kate's hand where that fill's coming from. She's getting, even illumination here and all over, and that's to be expected. And then as we start to drop that fill light down, you can especially see on like her face, like here, we're starting to get some deeper shadows. Again, here towards the back of the hand, towards this side of her body, the light's starting to fall off. You can see that there's starting to be more shadows coming in here, more texture being introduced into the actual robe that she's wearing. And then as we get down to the darker ones, you can see that we're introducing a lot more shadows. So it's really not a super hard concept to understand, but knowing how to do it and knowing what to do is really, again, really important. I think it goes a long way in giving you the ability to always be able to perform no matter what's going on, because you know how to make the images. You know how that, I like the look where, so for me personally, I really like the 2-to-1 setup. This is kind of my aesthetic. It's my style. It's what I like to do. A subtle fill, but giving a little bit of shadow introduced into the image so that you're getting some directionality out of that. That's what I personally like. You may like more, you may like less. It just depends on what your style is and what it is that you like to, how you like to photograph. So, but knowing that and knowing that you have the ability to replicate that no matter what is pretty awesome. Any questions from anybody?
Why has Profoto no radio module for the Sekonic light meter?
Why does Profoto have no radio module for the Sekonic light meter? Because we just don't work. We don't have one with the Sekonic light meter. We're not the same companies. It just depends on Sekonic making things for their light meter. We don't own Sekonic. We can't have them put that stuff in there.
Can you shoot a main light only to show it compare?
Oh yeah. That's a solid idea. So someone wants to see a main light only, no fill whatsoever. So I'm just gonna leave this here and just turn it off. Yeah, that's what we're about to do here. Cool. Solid request. I didn't even think to do that. You guys out here making me better. I love it.
Right.
I love it. Okay, cool. Let's get B turned off. So cool. So the next shot that you see here, you ready, Kate? The next shot that you see is going to be just Kate with the hair light and the main light. I'm gonna leave the hairline on because that's consistent across all the images.
Okay.
So cool. Here we go. See what my crop was roughly there. Here we go. 3. Oh, let me just center it up. There we go. 3, 2, 1. There you go. I didn't meter it, but it looks like a good exposure. So, and I can't imagine that it would be too far off, especially after being 4:1. So, okay, cool. So let's pull all 5 of these up together. Let's do. You know what? Let's get rid of. Or maybe what we should do is we should pull them up individually. Cool. Yeah. So I'll bring each one of them up so you can kind of see them in comparison. So here, looking at the crop's not the exact same. We're perfect. So the crop's not quite the same because I moved the camera, but that's okay. We can get the gist of it. With this image right here, again, 1:1, and then this one right here is no fill. No, this is the no fill. Yeah, this is no fill. So this is just that the soft zoom. Now the upside for something like the soft zoom right here, it's a big modifier. It's wrapping a lot of light, so there is still less shadow than there necessarily would be if I was using a smaller light source. Just because, again, it has the ability to wrap. So that's here, and then let's get rid of the 1:1. Let's go 2:1. So again, we have some dimension coming in here. There's a little bit more shadow coming in here to the back of the hand, but you can see it's not nearly as deep as no fill whatsoever. Still a really, really good. Again, this is my preferred lighting ratio. I love the 2:1 look. Let's see.
We have a lot of people asking for a Profoto light meter.
A Profoto light meter. Yeah, I mean, I understand the ease of use of being able to click the thing and have your lights fire off. My question is always going to become, because like the nice thing about like having the Kinect Pro in your hand while you're doing it is I can see my power levels and I can make that adjustment right there. Like I can fully adjust. So unless like there was a full, I get the clicking. The clicking is nice, but unless there's like full control inside of it, I would just rather use the remote in my hand because I can change the power. Anyway, but I do feel your pain. I understand what you're saying. So here again, the shadows aren't quite as deep, but we are getting some directionality in there. Then when you start bringing in, and I'm just gonna, since we're already here, I'm gonna bring in the these 3 together. So here you have the no fill. Here you have the 8:1 and the 4:1. I believe I'm correct. Yep, there's the 1:1, 2:1. Yep, I am correct. So here you can see the shadows. The difference between the shadow here and here isn't huge, but this one is a touch deeper. You can also tell here on the side of the towel on her head that it is a little bit deeper in the shadows than it is here. Again, one of the upsides for this big modifier in our room not being super huge is the fact that we are getting some light bouncing around the room, so it doesn't fill in quite as, or it fills in more so the shadows aren't quite as deep as they could be. It's a both a gift and a curse of this room. If I had something bigger, the difference would be a lot more dramatic. But you can still see the difference in between the two. But it's a pretty, and then I'll just for funsies, let's just throw them all 5 up there.
Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead.
That's fine.
No, that actually works.
Yeah.
Great.
And there's all 5 of them. I know they're tiny, but you can kind of see the progression of the shadow introduced a little bit more. It's not a super heavy subject. It's not anything that is really hard to show. It's just, I think originally whenever I was learning about lighting ratios and stuff like that, I was always thinking about, I didn't have a firm grasp on my actual f-stop numbers. So I didn't, I couldn't go from, 4 to 5.6 to, 8 and 11, 16, all that stuff like that. So, but learning those numbers and then just knowing how to make those quick adjustments and to be able to make my look over and over and over again and get paid for that look is really, really big. Any other questions other than light meter triggering requests?
I know, one more of those, and then let's see. Yep, that's it.
Cool. So noted on the light meter trigger request, I will send that up to our R&D team. They watch this stuff too, so they can see all that kind of stuff too. So maybe they can talk to Sekonic and see what's going on with that.
On the Profoto remote is one stop, so it's very easy.
Yeah.
Profoto.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So again, I like it with the trigger just because I can control the power. But if there's some way that they could integrate a full remote into the thing to where I could make all my adjustments there, then I'm sold. Done. Cool. Anything else?
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you all so much for hanging out with us this week. Again, a really light episode, nothing too heavy, showing some cool lighting ratios, having fun on National Relaxation Day, making some cool images. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime. You can DM me. You can DM us, the rest of the team at Profoto. If you want to see anything, if you want me to show you how to do something, if you want to see something versus something else, us pitting a couple of modifiers against one another, just let us know. I make this stuff for you, and it's all about showing you how you can take better images, find the right piece of equipment that you need to make your job better, and all that good stuff. So in the meantime, have an awesome rest of your week. Peace out, everybody.